What's up, guys? This is the Can't Lose Show. I'm your host, Trent, and with me today, I have Jayce from Up Your Score podcast. You can find his podcast anywhere. Really, you could get your podcast on YouTube, right?
Yeah.
Spotify. And then alongside Jayce, he has Jack and Ethan. Go give it a listen. They've been keeping tallies of who's winning more games that they predict each week. It's a good listen. Usually about 45 minutes, an hour each episode. But Jayce, thank you for joining me today.
Yeah. No, I'm happy to be on. I know we've been trying to make it work and ready to talk some football.
Hell yeah. As you guys can see, we are fans of two very different teams. If you guys remember, Jayce was on last year. So he is a Green Bay fan, very well represented. And obviously, you guys know I'm a 49er fan. So this should be fun. Let's get this started with top 10 quarterbacks through the first 3 weeks. This isn't gonna be all time like who has more stats and stuff over time. So like we'd put Aaron Rodgers number one, right? But he's probably not number one on this list. And so Jayce, I'll follow you after your 10 and then I'll go 10. Then you go nine, I go nine.
All right. So coming at number one.
No. Go 10 first.
Oh,
We'll work
10.
our
You want
way
me to
to
start
10.
with
Or we'll
10?
work our way to one.
Oh, man. Okay. All right. So with 10, he hasn't been great this season so far, but I'm
Okay.
going to go Joe Burrow at 10.
Okay.
He's going to be barely at 10 for me. Nine, shocker for you, but I'm putting Jaden Daniels at number nine.
I wanted to include him on my list too. I really did, but he did not make my list.
Because it's just through the first 3 weeks, correct?
Yeah.
Okay. So Burrow 10, Daniels 9, 8. I'm gonna go with Sam Darnold. I'm gonna put him at 8 for what he's done
Okay.
so far. 7, I'm gonna go Aaron Rodgers. I'm still gonna give him love. He's shown it so far. He's starting to get back on track a little bit. So I'm gonna go him at 7. 6. This one's tough for me, but I mean, he has the stats. Probably going to get a lot of hate for this, but I'm going to go Dak Prescott at 6, just statistically through the first three
Okay.
weeks. 5, I'm going to go Stroud. 4, I'm going to go with. This is where it gets tough for me. 4, I'm going to go
Yeah.
with. I'm going to go with Derek Carr at 4. I'm
Okay.
gonna go Derek Carr for what he's done so far. I know he didn't have a shaky. I didn't know he didn't have the best game last week, but what he's been able to do so far through the first 3 weeks, I'm gonna put him at 4.
That's fair.
Um,
Okay.
for 3, I'm gonna go with Patrick Mahomes. Haven't been
Okay.
impressed with him so um, as far as what he's been able to do, but he lands on 3 for me. For number 2. I think for number 2, I gotta. You're probably gonna. You might like it, you might not. Um, but I'm gonna go Lamar Jackson at 2.
Okay.
Um, I know he hasn't. I know 700 passing yards. I know he's a running first quarterback. Like I'll even admit that I don't personally like him, but I have to give him his respect. And he
Yeah,
hasn't had
no,
a
he's
lot
been
of
playing good this year.
he hasn't had a lot of help. And then number 1. I got to go with Mr. Josh Allen. I mean, Josh Allen, for what he's been able to do with that offense, you talk about losing Diggs, Gabe Davis, their top 2 guys, and he's just been able to do his thing. And people would say this is arguably his best start to any season in his career. And that defense is legit as well. So I'm going to go Allen at number 1.
Okay. So most notably, I'm gonna point out right away you left Brock Purdy off your top
I
10.
did. I did. I
Mm,
did. I
okay.
apologize. I know he's second in passing yards, but he doesn't have his
Second in
guys
passing
yet.
yards, third in QB rating, a lot of top five category in top five of each of the categories, but okay, that's
I mean,
fair.
it's a weird list.
It is. It's a very
When,
weird
when
list. And honestly, I think we only had matching one person in the same spot. We definitely have quite a few that are the same, but
okay,
let's go on my list now.
all right,
So at number 10, and respect has to be given here. So I have three guys at number 10. I know that's not really what I was asking for, but I had to keep him on the list. So at 10, I have Sam Darnold, Derek Carr, and Aaron Rodgers.
Okay.
Um, I think for what Sam Darnold and Derek Carr have started the year with, you have to put him on the list.
Yep.
What with what Aaron Rodgers has done besides week one, I would say he's done enough to be on this list. I can't keep Aaron Rodgers off this top 10 list. Number nine, I have Kyler Murray. He's looked good through 3 weeks for the most part. Jalen Hurts at number eight. Um, that one was like a little tricky one. I had to fit him on this list, but I wouldn't have mind keeping him off this list, to be honest with you. Like I could have gone either way. Number seven, only because I saw what he did to my team this past weekend. I have Matthew Stafford.
Okay.
Uh, number six, and this is the only one I think we had match. Oh wait, we have number. I think we have number one match too.
Yeah.
Um, Matthew Stafford, or sorry, Dak Prescott at number six.
Okay.
Then for my next one, number five, I have CJ Stroud.
Okay. I
Um,
had that too.
okay, I could have changed him probably between five and six. They're
Hmm.
go hand in hand, but I like CJ Stroud more, so I just put him higher. Lamar Jackson at four, and then what?
No, keep going. Keep going.
I like to see your reaction.
Oh my
Okay, and then
gosh. I haven't heard his name yet. There's no way you think Brock
I
Purdy's a
have him
top
in
three
my
quarter.
top three,
Oh my gosh.
and at three, Brock Purdy, because Jace, he's not a system quarterback. Yeah, we did not get the win, but he proved everyone wrong. And now I think the tide is finally going to be turning. He did not have many of his weapons. He had Jawan Jennings, who got a baby contract extension this week, go off for him and be his dog. He found other guys too. And then even when he found his supposedly number one target, guy drops the ball twice this week. Nothing new from previous weeks. He's been letting me down. I'll say it straight up. Ayuk's been ass this season. Um, but Brock Purdy, statistically this year, and even just on the field watching the game, he's playing like a top five, top three quarterback. So he has to be on my list at three. Number two, I have Patrick Mahomes. I would say a little bit slower of a start, but I think it's just because he's not having those long, crazy plays. He's finding the short stuff and taking what they're giving him. And it's not to Travis Kelce, so maybe it's not making the Instagram posts and stuff like it should, but it's because it's not going to Travis Kelce. And then number one, and you said it, is Josh Allen. And honestly, I think he's 3, 4 spots ahead of Patrick Mahomes right now. We could leave 2, 3, 4 blank and then put Patrick Mahomes. I think that's how much he's playing ahead of the rest of the league in quarterbacks for the first 3 weeks.
All right. I like your list. Except
All right.
for I don't mind Brock Purdy in the top 10, but come on, man. Number
Okay.
three.
How high would you have put him then? Since you didn't put him on your list.
All right, fine. I will call myself out. I will put him at 10. That's the highest I'll put him. I'll put him at 10
So
for
you're
you.
telling me
I think what Jaden Daniels has done so far through the first 3 weeks has
he
impressed
barely
me
threw his
more.
first touchdown pass.
I know, but
He
I'm
barely
just
threw his first touchdown pass.
I know, but I mean that performance that he had on Monday
Oh,
night,
of course, that performance was
crazy.
awesome, and we're coming fresh off of that. So yeah, I could see that being the case. But if we're talking first 3 weeks, come
All right,
on.
I'll put him at 9 for you. I'll put him at 9. Nowhere,
Who's
nowhere
at your
higher.
nine spot? Who's at your nine spot?
Well, one guy that I forgot to leave out that I could put him over is Baker Mayfield because he's
Oh,
been
Baker
another.
Mayfield for sure. I could
That's
have put
another
him.
guy that I'm looking at right now that I probably missed.
I probably should have
Uh,
took Jalen Hurts out and put him, honestly.
that yeah, Jalen Hurts, in my opinion, yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I probably would have put Baker in there. I'll put Purdy in there, but
Okay.
Purdy's not touching close to my top five though. There's no way he's touching five for me.
Okay. All right. We'll revisit this
But I
topic when you
respect
come
it. I
back on the
respect it.
show.
I respect it though.
All right. Let's get into looking back at our week three picks. Jace wasn't on the show last week. We had Dylan and Justin. So for this part, we're just gonna look back at my picks. And Jace, if you wanted to touch on something that you like picked a dog type player from last week from your show, by all means, do it. But my dog last week was Trevor Lawrence. And as we know, he did not go off. He was not anywhere near dog worthy. Um, we could start floating the idea out there that he is and might be a bust. Um, did he just legally rob the Jags of how many millions of dollars? because the way he's playing this year, the way he's played the past 8, 9 games, he's fallen off, and it's not even like I'm not even putting blame on the coach. I'm not putting blame on his offensive weapons. I think truly his performance has been really, really bad. And I was just pulling for him to upset the Bills last week because I really don't like the Bills. I don't know why. I've just never have. So I was just calling for it to be an upset, and you would need Trevor Lawrence to ball out, and clearly he did not.
Yeah, no, I like that. One player that I want to touch on, did not talk about him. I don't think anyone did. The most surprising performance from last week has to be Mr. Red Rifle, Andy Dalton. I mean,
Yeah.
oh my goodness. You talk about coming off pretty much from the couch. I can't remember the last time he started a game. I don't know about you. What was it, 3, 4 years ago? COVID
Yeah,
season, maybe
when
with the Bears or
Cincinnati benched
something.
him on his birthday for Joe Burrow.
Yeah. So, I mean, for what he was able to do, and I think I remember listening last week. I think Dylan called it that he had Carolina upsetting Raiders because he said that would be
Yep.
the most like Raiders thing. And I agreed with that.
Yep, he
Looking
sure
back, I
did.
know it was too late for me to change my pick, but I actually did agree with that. And then how about Deontay Johnson, too? I mean, 8 catches, 122 and a tutty. They had a good connection going. So, yeah, I mean, Andy Dalton to throw for over 300 yards and 3 touchdowns, that's crazy.
Yeah, that was honestly, like Dylan said, it's the most Raiders thing to happen to the Raiders. Last week my matchup was quarterback versus quarterback. It was Will Levis versus Malik Willis. Obviously you watched this game, so I will let you tell me how this matchup went because I already know my winner, but I just want to hear it from a Green Bay perspective.
Yeah, I mean, first off, I got to tip my cap to Matt LaFleur. I think so far through the first 3 weeks, he's shown that he is a top five play caller in the league, even though he doesn't get that respect
Mm-hmm.
for what he's been able
Definitely.
to do with this offense. With Josh Jacobs in our run game, and then Malik Willis. Malik Willis is fitting in perfectly with his offense. He's being super efficient. He's protecting the ball. He's not turning the ball over. And then we know how fast and mobile he is. And some people said he just needed to change the scenery. Maybe those people are right. I mean, Packers, for whatever reason, can just find ways to make quarterbacks really good. I mean, we've seen it now for 3 decades or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I'm super impressed with what I've seen from Malik Willis, especially in his return to Tennessee. That was a storyline. And then
Yeah.
Will Levis. Don't even get me started on Mr. Will Levis. 8 turnovers in 3 weeks. The meme
Yeah.
on his knees. Yeah, I mean, so my buddy Ethan actually, who's on the podcast with me, he's a big Titans fan. We were watching it together, and you know, Will Levis, we were talking. He just has no IQ for the quarterback position. He can't read a
No.
defense. He forces throws, especially when he's under pressure, and then he always panics. And you cannot panic as a quarterback. And I know he's still young. I know he took over as a starter halfway through last season. I don't even think he has 10 starts under his belt yet, or maybe he just reached that milestone. But I mean, so me and him were talking, and I wanted to ask you this question now that we're talking about this is how much longer do you think they potentially bench him for Mason Rudolph, who was a pretty good spark for the Steelers last year?
You know, I I respect the question because it's a valid thing to bring up. The thing that like interests me most in that question is new head coach, right? So he has no ties to him, meaning this is not gonna reflect my decision to draft you 2 years ago, or yeah, 2 years ago, or not. So I think the leash is very, very short. Do I think Mason Rudolph's the answer for the Titans? Absolutely not. But he'll probably be the bridge quarterback. I think you give Will Levis 2 more bad starts, if that, and then comes in Mason Rudolph, and then they'll probably be trying to trade for a backup quarterback, honestly, and get rid of him, and then revisit that conversation at the draft, just because there is no more ties to him. I think his play has been terrible. Like you said, he does not know how to read a defense. It the game speeds up a lot from when you're in college, obviously, as what they say. Obviously, I don't know personally, but I'm taking it from what every ex-NFL quarterback has said. Like there's a difference, and I don't think he's made that jump yet, and I don't know if he'll ever will make that jump just based off how he's played.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then to say to touch on Malik Willis, man, Green Bay has something in their water with quarterbacks. You guys don't miss, and Malik Willis looked like complete ass in the Titans offense. Maybe it's because their offense is just ass. I don't know, but Malik Willis has done his thing, and to keep you guys getting wins while Jordan Love is resting up, at this point, I hate to say it for Green Bay fans that love Jordan Love, but you might not see him for a couple more weeks because why rush back when your backup's doing enough to get you guys wins? I know you haven't had the best competition, don't get me wrong, and you'd love for Jordan Love to be back, but season's long. If there's any little pain, it's like, why not just let it fully heal? But again, it's Jordan Love. He's probably going to come back, you know?
Yeah, I mean, a week like this week, and I know we'll touch on it soon, but I
Oh,
mean,
yeah,
we're
we
playing
will.
the Vikings. It's our biggest game of the year. They're 3-0, we're 2-1. This is the biggest game for us so far. I know it's only week 4. I know it's early, I get it. But if
Yeah,
we're within a game of each other toward the end of the season, we're going to look back at week 4. But we'll see what
exactly.
happens.
All right. My game of the week last week was Eagles versus Saints. This one definitely lived up to the hype. It was neck and neck, down to the wire. I thought both teams did enough to walk out with a win, and honestly, I wouldn't have been mad at either of the team. Like from an outside looking in, obviously, I don't like the Eagles, but I also don't really like the Saints. So I thought this was a perfect game to pick, and just the outcome. It's like it's the small things that made the difference in this game, and that's what you love to see. You don't like to see blowouts on TV; they're boring. You like to see dogfights like that. So yeah, I thought that was a good game.
Yeah, no, yeah, I like it.
Um, all right, next, guys, and you guys know I always put a little portion of this show into the 49ers. Jayce is not a 49er fan, so maybe we might get an outside perspective that's not biased because I will say I'm trying not to be biased, but let's be real. It's very hard for me not to be biased. Niners versus Rams. Wow, we started out beautiful. Up 14-0, rolling. Um, we were driving and then we just stopped. We lift our foot off the gas pedal on offense. Um, I feel like the play calling changed. I feel like we weren't taking the chances downfield. We were just settling. And when you let a team like the Rams, who they have really nothing to lose, honestly, the way I look at the Rams, it's they have so many guys out. So did we. But with their injuries, like it was like, oh, their season's done. Just let's can it already, almost, going into this game. Down 14-0, definitely. Your thoughts like, let's just get to the next week. You give them any little bit of hope, and Matthew Stafford will make you pay. And that's exactly what he did. We we let them back into the game when we could have stepped on their neck, and it just was ugly. And Jayce, you could be brutally honest with me. What did you think about the 49ers downfall at the middle to the end of this game?
Yeah, so I watched the whole second half. First of all, I saw a stat that this is the first time in Matt Stafford's career, 0 passing yards in the first quarter. 0. So
Our defense was balling.
you guys were
Offense
rolling.
and defense was
Now,
clicking.
I am looking at the drives right now as we speak. They actually only had one drive because you guys had a long second touchdown drive
Yeah.
in 18 plays, I believe. That's crazy. But in their first 2 drives, no passing yards, only running yards. Kyron Williams,
It
we
was
knew.
-9 passing yards actually,
Yeah.
which is crazy.
Yes. And we knew that Kyron Williams, if they had a chance, it was going to be him. I mean,
Yeah.
this guy is, a top 3, top 5 running back in the league. I think he's shown that now
Mm-hmm.
for the last 22 weeks, going back to last year. And for what he was able to do, and I know one thing for you guys is your defense, besides Greenlaw, like wasn't banged up. And for
Yeah.
for what Kyron was able to do on the ground, like we saw week 1. Speaking of week 1, you guys like stuffed Brees Hall. You guys contained him, and you guys made Rodgers throw. That was your identity. That was the game plan, and you guys succeeded. But
Mm-hmm.
going into this game, the Rams were going to continue to pound the run. And that's what they were able to do, especially in that second half. They were able to get some first downs. And then we talk about Stafford and what he was able to do. But I mean, I think the guy that stepped up was Tutu Atwell. I mean, a guy
Yeah.
who was 2 years ago who was their wide receiver three, and then he started sucking a lot of drops, got put out of the rotation. They obviously drafted Nakua last year. He steals a lot of Atwell snaps probably. But
Hmm.
he comes back with their injuries with Cup and Nakua, and I mean, he just stepped up. He stepped up to the challenge, had a couple deep balls, and I mean, yeah, I mean, it was a crazy game. I know Mason was solid. Obviously, wasn't even close to what he's done the last 2 weeks. And then you already talked about it, but Brandon Ayuk. I mean, I wanted to ask you this. With guys that get their bag, like I feel like when they get their bag, they're either like worse or they get injured. Like, do you think anything of that? Like one guy that stands out to me is Christian Kirk, like a guy who got paid 21 million a year. Not going to say
I
he
haven't
was
even heard
elite.
his name this year.
Exactly. Not going to say he was elite, but like he was a good receiver with the Cardinals. And ever since putting on that Jaguars uniform, he's been terrible.
Yeah, I definitely think there's a little trend going there. Um, and it's in result of getting the bag. It's like you work your whole life for this, you finally get it. If I was in that position, like I wouldn't want to take my foot off the gas pedal in the way you work, but I feel like for these guys, it's like impossible. Like, yeah, Brandon Ayuk was training in the offseason, right? He knew he was on his way to get his bag, but there's nothing like team reps that make you actually go hard. Missing the camp obviously plays a huge factor, but they really take their foot off the gas pedal in the way they work for the game. And then the injury bug, obviously injuries are freak parts of the game, but I feel like the little banged up things become way bigger in the aspect they're like, well, we already got paid. There's no need to push it. Let's just let's milk it in a sense that like, all right, I'm not gonna go back in and get injured and it takes me out for no reason, you know? It's like
Mm-hmm.
they're not working for something anymore. And I hate to say that because this is not everyone that gets paid, but there's there's a few, you know. I don't
Yeah.
know. That's my answer to that. What did you
No,
think?
yeah. No, I mean, I agree with you. It's a trend. Maybe they do slightly take the gas off the pedal. I mean, like you said, you work your whole life for it, and then you get it, and then you're relieved, right? But then, like, you shouldn't want to continue to stop playing hard. And like, I'm not saying that they're not, but like the stats kind of show it.
Yeah.
I'm not going to count, Jefferson. First of all, he's going off, especially with Sam
Yeah.
Darnold.
Exactly. That's why I don't
Um,
want to say everyone for
no,
sure.
definitely not. Definitely not. Love got hurt, for example. I know it wasn't his fault because of
Yeah,
the
you can't do anything about
Brazil,
that.
the Brazil field conditions and everything. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a trend for some people, not even probably half, I'd say, but some.
Hmm.
And I feel like it could just be in the mindset, or they get the bag and then they're not on a bad team. Like two guys to keep an eye on this year, Dak and CD Lamb. Two guys that got
Hmm.
huge bags. They got to try and make the playoffs. I personally don't think it's going to happen, but I mean that's their two guys.
Yeah. And then to go back a little bit on your defensive talk about the 49ers, what really surprised me, and I know this is a little backtrack, but what really surprised me in this game is the fact that our defense couldn't stop the run. It's like the first 2 weeks, the guys that we brought in, uh, Campbell and Floyd, I almost want to put up like a missing want or missing please reach out if found because I have not seen them since week one. They're on the field, but I don't see them in the backfield. Literally no QB pressures. It's frustrating to watch because you bring in veterans like that and you're hoping they provide, and they provided the first week. I was like, hell yeah. And now it's like nothing. Malik Collins, still doing his thing. And then we lost Hargrave this week out for the year, um, which is a big blow. But then again, if you look back to the first 3 weeks, he hasn't done shit. So it's like, could he be replaced? Yeah, maybe he's not to his 2022 Eagles form that he was on when we got him. but he was still a great addition. And then we lost Eric Armstead this season. So it's like you lose two key pieces. That's going to hurt you. I think definitely towards the trade deadline, which is kind of a ways away, but I think the 49ers are going to have to go heavy on D line presence right there, um, just based off who we lost. But I don't want to dive too deep into that. Let's jump ahead to the 49ers New England game. And I don't want to spend too much time on this game because 49er faithful. If we don't bounce back here, we are ass and we are a lot worse than what we thought we were. I don't even have us in the top 10 after our piss poor performance this past week against the Rams. And I am very biased when it comes to the 49ers, and I don't even have us in the top 10. So, Niners, please change my mind on how I see you guys because I'm trying to go up and watch you guys against Detroit on New Year's Eve, and it better be worth it when I get up there because I don't want our season to go to shit off of injuries and just I don't want a downfall. Jayce, I know, like everyone else, you're probably preying on a 49ers downfall. It's okay, but yeah,
I mean, you can't blame me, right? I
no.
mean, postseason history doesn't lie. You guys own us. I thought Jordan Love would change the script, and the memes were coming out. Oh, Jordan Love's definitely a Packers quarterback. Looks good, dominates the Cowboys in the playoffs, and then loses in the last final minutes to the Niners, like it happens every single time. So, yeah, I mean, it's frustrating. Not going to say I'm preying on your downfall when it comes to injuries, because I don't want to prey on anyone's injuries.
Yeah.
But for my luck, you guys are going to have your whole team back healthy week 11 at Lambeau when you play us, and you
Hey,
guys are
that's
going
the
to
goal.
and you
That's
guys
the
are going to
goal.
look fine. So,
Yeah. I hate when people actually like, oh, I want this guy to get injured. I think that's like the shittiest thing you could do in any sports, in anything in life. Like, why walk down a sidewalk and be like, I hope that person falls and tears their Achilles or something. It's like, what? You know? So
yeah.
my computer is acting up. I don't know what it. Okay. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. I might have to edit that. My computer was all glitching and then Siri came up. I'm like, what is it doing? Anyways,
I heard you.
um, let's jump ahead to the next part in the show. And this is kind of where, guys, Jace's podcast, his broadcasting experience comes into play. It is now your time to ask questions, your thoughts on anything football. We'll even open it up to college football if you want to venture there. I've been keeping an eye on it, so for the most part, I could probably relay some info.
Yeah, I got some hot topics for you. My first hot topic. Okay. I hate to be biased. Okay, but I'm going to talk about the Chicago Bears. And obviously they're the
Okay.
Packers rivals. So the Bears cannot win. It looks like they drafted the wrong quarterback so far, just like the Panthers did with Bryce Young, Stroud, and Jaden Daniels and Williams. And then they're
Yep.
trading Justin Fields, and he's 3-0. So my question to you is, do you think they should have kept Fields, or do you think they should just? Well, I mean, they have to stick with Caleb Williams, or do you think they should have drafted Jaden Daniels? Like, who do you think under center right now would be better? I know it's 3 weeks. I'm not overreacting. They still have a chance to make the playoffs. They're 1-2, playing the Rams this week. But I mean, do you think Williams is fine? Do you think it's just growing pains early on in his career, which it probably is, or do you
That's
think
a
they messed up?
that's a loaded question. Do I think Justin Fields was answering in Chicago? No. So you can him, you get rid of him. Um, but was he not the answer because of himself or because of their coaching staff and the culture they have in Chicago? Maybe. So you move on, you try to find a different culture piece, you try to change the culture, and they're trying to find it in Caleb Williams, and obviously it's still early, but out of the gates, it seems like whoever you're gonna pick at number one in the draft, and this might be the strategy going forward, don't pick him and pick the next guy. Um, do I think Jaden Daniels is the answer for Chicago? Maybe, maybe not. It's a That's why I said it's a loaded question. I personally think there's a lot more deeper down in Chicago. Why have they never had a quarterback that was great? Like you're
Yeah,
telling me your best quarterback in franchise history is Jay Cutler?
yeah,
No diss to Jay Cutler by this comment, but it's Jay Cutler.
yeah. And Jordan Love last year in his first year, that would have been the best quarterback season in Bears history. They've
Yeah.
never had a QB throw for over 4,000 yards. Never.
Nope. Did you talking about Jordan Love, Chicago, did you catch Pat McAfee's show?
Yes, sir.
Oh, that was an awesome quote.
The Bears, yeah, for people
Uh
that don't know, Bears invaded Sauce Gardner's house, and Pat McAfee cracks a joke and says, "Oh, like Rogers, you know a thing or two about Bears." And then Rogers is like, "Oh, you're gonna have to talk to Jordan Love about that. He's the new Bears owner over there." No, that
oh
was awesome. That
that
was
was
awesome.
such a cool little moment because that just shows Aaron Rodgers has a lot of love for love, and there's no hate there. A lot of people were saying like, "Oh, Aaron Rodgers," like making up drama when Aaron Rodgers left Green Bay. It just, hey, his time was done in Green Bay, and Love is now here. It's like
Yeah.
there's nothing wrong with
And
that.
and I feel like they wouldn't have made the move if they didn't think Love was ready. And I mean, so far they
Exactly.
were right, right? And
Yeah.
it's not like the Favre Rodgers thing because I know they actually had like on field like
Oh yeah.
beef, quote unquote. They're fine now, but by the way, obviously got to keep Favre in our prayers for
Of course, of
those
course.
news that have come out. But yeah, I mean, I think those two guys, they love each other, and I think Love, is grateful for what Rodgers has been able to provide him with all the knowledge he has now, and I mean, kind of so far just trying to follow in his footsteps and just be the best player he could be.
Yep. All right. I believe you have more questions for me, right? You haven't asked all of them?
I have two more questions. So you're a Notre Dame guy. You guys got a tough game this week. I know you're at home. You guys are ranked 16th right now. You're playing 15 Louisville. You guys are actually favored to win by a touchdown. How do you think you're going to do this weekend?
Honestly, moving forward this season, I have no idea how we're favored in any game. Notre Dame has made me so mad this year. We had high expectations. It was like, you don't have a conference championship. We will take the number 5 seed. All we have to do this year is beat Texas A&M. The rest of our schedule looks weak. Louisville might be a ranked team. USC might be a ranked team, but they're supposed to have a down year. And no, that's not the case. You lose to NIU. You go toe to toe with a team that's 0-3 that we probably paid $3 million to come into South Bend this past weekend. We were losing 3-0 at the end of quarter number one. I think we were still down at halftime. And then we finally like pick it up and start going. It's like, no, I just don't know how we're favored in this game. The fact that you said we're favored, I haven't even checked it because I've been so disappointed in Notre Dame. Yeah, that's just no, I don't have us favored. And when if we win, I will come out and say it. I did not pick us to win.
All right. All right. So my other college football game that I wanted to touch on, everyone's going to be eyeballing this one. 4:30 our time, Georgia taking on Alabama. We know the
Hmm.
Pat McAfee pregame show. We remember that last year. That was funny. Uh,
That
but
was a good
uh,
one. That was a good one.
but without fooling me, who are you taking and why?
You know, I think this game's going to come down to coaching. I think both teams have all the talent in the world. I think it's cool that Nick Saban is going to be on campus for this game because he's part of College Game Day and Pat McAfee show the day before College Game Day. So to have a legend on campus like that, to maybe I don't think he plays a role in like assisting the coaches by any means. With game time or game decisions, obviously, but maybe a little prep throughout the week, like, hey, this is kind of what you expect. Or maybe he did a good enough job while they were under him. I don't know. Um, but I think Georgia comes out of this game with a W. I think they're too explosive. I think they're by far the top. I okay. They are the best team in college football. I think Ohio State hasn't been challenged enough for me to put them above. That's the only issue. So I will say Georgia is the best team in college football. And I think they come out to show it on Saturday. And honestly, I have them winning by double-digit points.
Okay, okay, I like it.
Yeah.
So one thing that I wanted to add is I know Alabama has had the better offense so far this season.
Mm-hmm.
But I agree with you. It's gonna come down to the defenses. It's gonna come down to the quarterback play. I haven't been super big on Jalen Milroe. I will say he does look pretty better this year than last year. But I think it's gonna come down to the defense. It's gonna come down to the better quarterback play and Carson Beck and the highly prospect that he is leading that Georgia offense. I could honestly see it being a low scoring game. But I think because the over under is only 48 and a half, but I think Georgia wins like 23-20. It's going to be a field
Okay.
goal type of game. But yeah, I would say Georgia wins that game.
Okay. And I'm saying double digits because I think Georgia's gonna be up 7. And then, like that last minute drive to really put it 2 scores away, a field goal, and then they just kind of stop Alabama from making that last little push. But that's going to be a good game. I'm glad you brought that up because honestly, I have not touched college ball this year on this show. Um, no particular reason because honestly, I love college. I love waking up Saturday and just throwing on game day. It's a good watch, and all the games are so entertaining because these guys are playing for something bigger than just themselves. They're trying to get to the next level. So
Yeah.
I got to talk more college ball.
One more
Um,
one more quick topic. One more quick one.
okay, okay.
Last one. I'm really curious to hear this. Do the Chiefs three-peat or at least just make the Super Bowl out of the AFC? If not, which team in the AFC is the biggest threat and why?
Okay. The biggest threat to the Chiefs this year has to be the Buffalo Bills. Their defense is on another level right now than I've seen in the past from Buffalo. The fact that Josh Allen is playing so freely and so good without a star receiver or two receivers, we could even say, is impressed me so much. And I've said this on the podcast before. It's not a shot at Diggs or Gabe Davis. It's the fact that he gets to be the superstar. Now, we could say Stephon Diggs was a superstar in this offense, but now he really gets to be the superstar and he's making those plays. And honestly, I forget where I heard it, but it's the fact that Josh Allen, when he first started his career, he needed Stephon Diggs to show him that he could take the chances on the one-on-ones. And now that he knows he could do that, he's gonna throw it to their their non-Stephon Diggs in the he doesn't care who it is. He'll take that chance because he knows he could make that throw. And I just think it's kind of perfect timing lining up with them. So I don't think the Chiefs three-peat, to be honest with you. I think they get knocked off in the divisional round. I don't even think they make the AFC championship this year. It's such a long season, and I know I'm very hopeful for the 49ers to get back to the Super Bowl. But the Chiefs and the 49ers had the shortest off seasons of them all. And whether anyone wants to believe it or not, in the game of football, having those extra weeks off makes a world's difference on your body, whether it's a minor injury or major. So I think that comes into play. But it wouldn't surprise me if the Chiefs found their way back in the Super Bowl. I just think the biggest threat has to be the Bills this year.
Okay. All right.
What about you?
I would say the Bills too. Maybe the Texans, but their defense hasn't impressed me at all.
Yeah, their
Really in
defense.
any of the games because they barely beat the Colts in a shootout 29-27. I know it's a road game, it's a divisional game, I get it. They held the Bears to 13 points in a 19-13 win, and then they just get absolutely blown out 34-7 last week. I haven't been impressed with Stroud either so far. I know I have him as
Yeah,
in my top five, but I mean he still has the potential. That's why I'm still putting him there. But he definitely would tell you too that he definitely could play a lot better than how he's been playing.
yeah, and then that just is a big surprise for me. I expected a lot out of the Texans, especially the defensive side with D'Amico Ryans and some of the pieces they picked up. So to see them drop off like that, I just don't see them being enough to knock off the Chiefs. And then what we could always say Joe Burrow and the Cincinnati Bengals, but the way they look 0-3, your chance to get to the playoffs is pretty much shot at this point. So I'm not gonna say they're gonna knock them off this year either. We could say Lamar Jackson and the Ravens is a fair contender, but I think the Bills through 3 weeks are better than the Ravens. So
Yeah.
Um, all right, guys. That was a cool little segment of Jace taking over the show. Thank you, Jace, for doing that. I honestly, you're one of my favorite guests to come on our show. You know what's up. You know your ball, so that was cool to let you lead for a little bit. Now, let's get into something we do every week is pick a dog, pick a game of the week, pick a matchup of the week. Um, and then after that, we'll talk about each game and pick our winners. A little brief thing about each game and pick the winner. So, who's your dog for week 4 in the NFL this week?
You're gonna like this storyline. I got Mr. Jaden Daniels coming back to the desert, former ASU Sun Devil, coming into Arizona. And I expect him to have a monster performance building off of that win. I'm not saying the Commanders are going to win that game, but I definitely see Jaden Daniels having another two, maybe three total touchdown game. I could see him running one in maybe, but I think he's going to throw a couple in the air and he's going to look even better than he looked last week.
Okay, I like that. I like that a lot, and I could definitely see a shootout with him and Kyler Murray. My dog of the week this week, and it a little fast forward. It's coming from my game of the week. Josh Allen, he has to play good. We just talked about Buffalo and Baltimore, and I said Buffalo is better through 3 weeks of football. So Josh Allen is gonna have to play very well to knock off this Baltimore team and to uphold my words on calling him better and calling the Bills better right now. So I see him having a monster performance, putting the team on his back and being the superstar he is at quarterback.
Yeah, I like it. I like it.
Matchup this week. My matchup's kind of funky. I personally I don't think I picked the best matchups. I don't know why. I just pick weird matchups, but I think they're cool matchups in the sense that they have storylines to it. So this week is going to be Tennessee versus Miami quarterback matchup. Why do I say quarterback matchup? Because we're not sure if who's going to be playing quarterback for either team. Is Will Levis benched? Is Miami really sticking with who they have? Is he in concussion protocol? Is he injured? So for this, I think either team is wide open to win, and it's going to come down to who plays the quarterback position and gets the ball out to the correct receivers, the correct plays, the correct switches at the line of scrimmage. And it's a weird matchup. And I'm going to take Miami on this one only because I think they have a better offensive coach. Um, so whoever suits up and puts their hands underneath the center's ass for Miami, I think wins this matchup.
All right, I like it.
It's a weird one. What's
No,
your matchup?
no, yeah, my matchup. Oh, I am ready for this matchup. Jair Alexander versus Justin Jefferson. We saw what happened last
Hmm.
time. It's been long awaited. They didn't match up in either game last year, and Jair locked him up. Held Jefferson to his worst game of his career, one catch for 13 yards, and just locked him up all game. Literally followed him around all game. And when Jair's up for the challenge, he will never back down. That's why I love him so much. And I mean, I don't know who's going to win this matchup because Jair has all the confidence in the world. Jefferson has all the confidence in the world. You would think that Jefferson would probably get the better of him this time. Um, I'll probably give Jefferson the edge. Um, but I'm not saying the Vikings are going to win, but I'd say he might win that matchup this time.
Okay, I love this matchup. And if I'm being completely honest, Jace, I did not pick this matchup, even though it was literally my eyes lit up when I saw this on the schedule because I knew you were going to pick it. I just had a great feeling you were. And so I was going to let you lead into this. Last time they met, you hit it on the head. Justin Jefferson did absolutely nothing. Justin Jefferson this year has been balling. So I think with that steam and stuff, I want to lean towards Justin Jefferson winning this battle, but because you picked him to win this battle, I'm gonna go Jair to win this battle, and he locks him up and holds him to under 50 yards and does not find the end zone. Will it be more than 13 yards from last time? Probably, but not more than 50, and no trips to the end zone, which is going to be huge. Sam Darnold's going to have to find other pieces to get this job done if they want to beat Green Bay this week. That leads us into our games of the week. I already said mine, Buffalo, Baltimore, kind of already touched on it. It's gonna be fireworks, and I think Josh Allen and Buffalo wins this game. What's your game of the week?
There's a couple. I mean, obviously that's the game of the week. But just because of the stat line, I'm gonna pull one. I'm gonna pull one here that you probably don't know of. I'm gonna take the Seahawks Lions Monday Night Football, and the reason why I say that, the Seattle Seahawks, no, the Detroit Lions have not lost to the Seattle Seahawks since 2012.
I did not know that.
So Seahawks have been dominating that matchup. They've scored 30 plus in every single one of those wins. And Lions just cannot figure it out as far as beating the Seattle Seahawks. Now, Seahawks are 3-0. They haven't played great competition. Lions, they started out, you know, okay with the win in overtime against the Rams, then lost to Tampa, then beat the Cardinals. So they're 2-1. But the reason why I like this matchup is, will history repeat itself again and Seattle win? Or will Lions finally be able to do something they haven't done in 12 years and beat the Seahawks?
You know, I don't think it's been talked about enough, but the hire Seattle had for Mike McDonald, I hope I didn't butcher that, and I hope I said the right Mike and the right Mick. Um, he is a defense of guru. We talk about all these offensive hires for gurus, um, and that's kind of what the league has kind of transitioned to. But when Baltimore locked up the 49ers on Christmas Day last year, I literally was like, who the hell is their defense coordinator? He needs a head coaching job. Did I want him to end up in our division as a head coach? Absolutely not. But I thought it was a great hire. And it wouldn't surprise me if Seattle wins this game. I don't want them to because they are 3-0. I really don't want the Lions to win either. But if I had to pick one of the two, I'm hoping the Lions win this game. But great game, dude. Great game.
Yeah.
All right. Let's get into the pick 'em. Guys, dirty plug. You already know I'm gonna plug it. Pick 'em from the Can't Lose Show Instagram. It's $10. It's not much. It's literally cheaper than a lunch. If you guys want to play and walk away with around $100 every week, if not, we get the pot to 200. Um, just send a DM and I'll send you the sheet, and then you fill it out and send it back my way. It's super simple, and I have been the winner of it once, I believe, in my time doing it. Jace, have you won it while you played?
So I've done it. I've done it, I think, 3 times and I've won it once. So I'm one for
So,
three.
yeah, you made your money back and got some extra lunches in there. So it's $10. If you can't do it and you don't want to do it, by all means, hey, it's not for you. Cool. But for the people that want to do it and like a little betting, it's a cool little thing. So let's go down the sheet. It goes from Thursday all the way to Monday night, and we're gonna go in the order it provides. Dallas at New York Giants. Hey, this division game. New York Giants coming off a good win. Are they catching their stride enough to beat Dallas? What do you think?
I'm taking Dallas. No,
Okay.
I don't need to say much. Not impressed with the Giants. Besides Neighbors, Neighbors has been incredible. That's really the only bright spot. Give me Dallas on this one because it's not a home game. They're 0-2 at home. It's on the
Yeah.
road. Give me Dallas.
All right. I'm gonna take Dallas, but what it would be such a Dallas thing to lose to the New York Giants, similar to what Dylan said with the Raiders last week. But I have Dallas. New Orleans versus Atlanta. This is a good game. Division game. This one could have been swapped for a primetime game. It's so early in the season though, you can't predict everything. So who do you have?
Yeah, this is a game for sure that's tough. But just seeing the Saints and the Derek Carr history, he has a couple good games and then he just starts to kind of fall down. Falcons should have beat the Chiefs last week.
Mm-hmm.
Terrible coaching by Raheem Morris. They should have just kicked the field goal both times, would have won the game.
Yep.
But yeah, I like Falcons in this one at home. Spread's only 2.5, and yeah, I like Falcons in this one.
Yeah, I'm going Falcons as well with you. The Rams taking on Chicago in Chicago. They're coming off a great win against my team. Chicago has not looked strong, um, but playing a physical game like that takes a toll on your body. You're already down a lot of pieces. This is where Caleb Williams has his little welcome to Chicago moment in Chicago finally, and they pull out a good win against the Rams. I have Chicago in this one.
Yeah, I cannot pick the Bears.
I know.
I have not been impressed with Caleb Williams, and for the Rams to finally beat you guys at SoFi in a regular season only took them 6 years to do it. But yeah, I gotta pick the Rams and keep stay them hot.
Okay. I don't really want to pick Chicago, but I'm so mad at the Rams right now. I'm not picking them. I was trying to convince myself so much right now on why I should pick Chicago, and I still have not convinced myself.
Oh my gosh.
um, Minnesota taking on Green Bay. This game is going to be a lot better than what we thought it was going to be coming into the season. We thought Minnesota was not going to be good. And hey, maybe it's only 3 weeks and maybe they're not going to be good. But for now, I think this game is going to be electric. I think that it's going to come down to the wire. Jayce, don't be mad.
You're good. You're good.
I am picking Minnesota only because Jordan Love is not listed as QB1 yet. Yet. So if he
Okay.
gets listed as QB1, I'm going to go Green Bay. I will say
Okay.
that.
Okay.
But
Okay.
if he doesn't get switched before tomorrow's first game when this is due, I have to go Minnesota on this.
Okay. That's fair. That's fair. You know what? I'll agree with you on that. If Willis is QB1 Sunday, I think the Vikings will win. I think it's still going to be a close game at
Yeah.
Lambeau. But if Love wins, I think we win by a touchdown. Or if
Okay.
Love plays, sorry,
Yeah.
we win by a touchdown.
We all know what you meant right there. It's good. But yeah, Minnesota's defense has looked way better than I thought it was going to be. Their offense obviously is doing their thing, so you got to have all your players
Yeah.
if you're going to want to beat them. So Jordan Love, if you're playing, I got your back. But if not, Sam Darnold, Minnesota.
Yeah.
Um, Pittsburgh, Indianapolis. I wanted to be such a believer in Indianapolis this year. I, for some reason, always stood behind AR and is no, I don't know. I don't know what's wrong there.
Well, I'll tell you what's wrong, and it's hurting my fantasy team. They're not getting Michael Pittman Jr. the ball. That's what's going on.
They're
This is
not
a
finding a way to get him the ball in anything. They're not setting him up for success right now.
I mean, this
Like,
is a guy who had over 1,100 yards and 7 touchdowns last year with Gardner Minshew. I mean,
yeah,
what are we doing? Like,
I I don't know what their thought of that is behind not getting your best receiver the ball. It's it's mind-boggling to me. So for that reason, I have Justin Fields continuing Pittsburgh's win streak because of their defense, and he'll do enough on offense to get them the win.
yeah, I'm picking Steelers too. And not only do I think Steelers are going to win next week, I have them going 6-0 before they play the Jets week 7.
Who do they have on their next 2 weeks? If you have
So
it
they
up, if you
play,
don't, no worries.
no, I have it right here. So they play Dallas at home the following week,
Okay.
and then they play at Vegas week 6.
Yeah, they could easily be 6-0. And Mike
There's,
Tomlin is very close to securing another winning season. So
yeah, yeah,
yeah, I could see that totally. Let's go next. Denver at New York Jets. Bo Nick surprised us last week. The celebration's over. Jets handle here.
yeah. I got Jets too. Nothing really to say. Rodgers played his best game last week and back at home again.
Yeah. Philly at Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay is coming off a brutal loss. Philly, they're I think what's holding Philly back, and you're gonna be like, maybe it's too early to say this, but it's their head coach. I am not a fan of his right now. And I think no matter how their season ends, unless it ends in a Super Bowl, I think they should really explore other head coaches. Bill Belichick's still out there. Not saying I want him to go to the Eagles because that's an NFC
No,
team,
no, no.
but I think if they don't end in a Super Bowl, I think he is replaced.
So I'll say this. And first of all, I think Jonathan Gannon on the Cardinals is a way better coach than Nick Sirianni.
Yep.
I do not like Nick Sirianni. Never have. I thought he's always pretty much been overrated. I think he got carried by that coaching staff in that Super Bowl season.
Hmm.
Can't remember the team that their OC went to.
The Colts.
The Colts. Yep. So that's another guy gone, and and it's kind of like the Ravens. I know you were talking about the DC, and I wanted to mention this really quick earlier. Is the Ravens defense doesn't even look close to last year, and that's because they
Yep.
lost their DC. So when you lose those pieces on your coaching staff for any team, it's tough. And yes, you need the players on the field defensively really good, and you need them to play well. But the DC plays a huge role in that too. And when you don't have those dominant DCs, it's tough. But going back to this game, obviously this is a rematch of the NFL NFC wildcard round last year. But I think I am going to pick the Eagles. They're favored to win this game, which surprises me. But I'm going to pick the Eagles to squeeze it out, even with AJ Brown still out. And I don't know if Devonta Smith is playing. He's
Uh,
questionable.
he's most likely not. They don't make it back in concussion protocol in a week. So I think
Yeah,
I'll take it as him out. And for that
but
reason, I'm going Tampa Bay. So
yeah, I just think Saquon he's been on a different planet. By far the best running back in the league right now.
I've been
And
a
I
fan of Saquon since college. And when people were hating on him in New York, I'm just like, just wait for him to find his moment to just prove everyone wrong and shut everyone up. And I'm so
yeah,
glad he's doing that. Obviously, don't like it with the Eagles, but he's doing his thing. So I'll give it to him.
yeah, but yeah, I think he's just going to be too much to handle. And the fact that Baker hasn't gotten Mike Evans going the past couple weeks and have been clicking with Godwin for whatever reason.
Mhm.
But yeah, I'm going to say Eagles find a way to squeeze this one out.
Okay. Cincinnati, Carolina. What a shitty game because of Cincinnati being what they have been this year. Red Rocket, Red, whatever they want to give him as a nickname. I know you said a different one earlier.
Yeah.
Um, it would not surprise me if they send Carolina packing 4-0 going back to home, but I'm picking Cincinnati in this one.
I'm sticking with the Red Rifle, man. Give me Carolina at home. The
Okay?
first of all, I think he gets a huge standing ovation when he runs out that tunnel. I hope it's on social media or something where we can
Yeah.
see it. But I think the crowd's gonna light up that they were finally able to score 30 points, which is something I don't think they've done since like 2021.
No, they've been
So
so bad for so
yeah,
long.
yeah. But I mean, yeah, I would say that they're going to squeeze this one out at home. Chuba Hubbard and Deontay Johnson are going to keep it going too.
Okay, official. Changing my pick because I said something earlier. When they benched him on his birthday, and then it was the day after the trade deadline for Joe Burrow. Don't get me wrong, Joe Burrow is Joe Burrow. But on his birthday, it's not sitting right with me. He has something to prove to them this week and a big FU towards the organization. So give me
Yeah.
him and Carolina.
Yes, sir.
Jacksonville, Houston. Jacksonville, I've said it already in this episode because I picked Trevor Lawrence as my dog. They are not it. And we said Houston's defense is shaky, but this is a game where they're going to find a couple interceptions, maybe a couple forced fumbles, where they kind of find their juice on defense. And give me Houston in this one.
I got Houston winning by a large margin. I think, hot take or not, I think Trevor Lawrence, as far as the yearly pay, making 53 million a year, it's got to be the worst contract in the NFL right now.
Yeah.
He, in my opinion, is a bottom 10 quarterback. I have never been high on him, not even when he was at Clemson, especially when he was getting those Joe Burrow comparisons. I'm like, guys, no, 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 no. Joe Burrow is a tier ahead of him. He will
Yeah.
always be a tier ahead of him. And he already, I mean, I know he already made a Super Bowl in his second year in the NFL. I know he hasn't gotten back since, but I'm just saying, like, I don't see Trevor Lawrence ever making a Super Bowl. Um, Maybe on a different team, but it's looking like he's probably going to continue to be there. So I don't know.
Yeah. I would say I was high on him in college. He did his thing in college, don't get me wrong. But this past 10, 12 game stretch, he's really let me down. And I'm a quarterback guy, and he's definitely dropped into the bottom tier of quarterbacks in the league. So yeah.
Yeah.
Washington at Arizona. We already touched on this game because your dog. I love this matchup between the two quarterbacks, but I think Arizona right now is the better, shittier team. Um, so give me Arizona. Are you going to this game by chance, or you
No, no,
watching it
no,
from
no,
home?
no, no. I'll be going to a couple other games. Definitely gonna go see Rogers one last time when they show up in like week 10. But yeah, not I won't be there.
Okay. Um, who do you have?
So I said earlier, I'm gonna pick the Cardinals. I think it's gonna be a gritty game though. I think it's gonna be really a shootout. I really do. But I think Cardinals just because they're at home. We saw the last time they were at home. So or no, 2 weeks ago. Sorry, I forgot they were at home last week. But yeah,
Yeah.
I'm gonna go with the Cardinals on this one.
Okay. New England, San Francisco. I'll keep this short and sweet. Bang, bang, Niner gang. Let's go, 49ers.
Yeah, Niners for sure. If not, I don't know what to say to you, Trent. This
All
could
right.
be a very embarrassing loss.
Yeah. Cleveland, Las Vegas. The Raiders did the Raiders thing last week in losing to Carolina. Cleveland, for whatever reason, Deshaun Watson, we're talking about bad quarterback money. This might be the one that gives Trevor Lawrence a run for his money. I don't know what the fix is there besides losing out on millions of dollars and switching quarterbacks because I think that's the only answer. But since they're not switching quarterbacks this week, give me the Raiders. They're at home.
Yeah, I'm taking Raiders, short and simple.
Kansas City Chargers, keeping this short and simple. Justin Herbert's very banged up. Their tackle, Joel, Notre Dame alum, is out. So, oh, and Rashawn Slater is probably out as well. Give me Kansas City.
Yep, we got the Chiefs as well.
Buffalo, Baltimore touched on this. I have Buffalo.
I got Baltimore, dude. I think
Okay.
that they just need
I'm
to get one. They just need to get one win. I had them winning that division at the start of the season. They have to catch the Steelers for how easy their schedule is, and
yeah.
Baltimore needs this win.
Okay, that's fair. Tennessee, Miami. I have more trust in a Miami offense than a Tennessee offense. Give me Miami.
I'm going Tennessee, dude. We saw last year Will Levis go into Miami and pull off the upset on Monday Night Football. It's on Monday Night Football again. Give me the Titans again. I think
All
they
right.
finally get a win.
Seattle, Detroit. We touched on this game. I'm going to Detroit on the sole purpose I do not want Seattle to win.
Yeah, for potential, betting purposes, I'm gonna pick the Lions to win this game. But the opposite of you, I need the Lions to lose this game. So I want Seattle to lose, but I think and believe that Lions will pull it out at home.
All right. This was a great episode. Jayce, from Up Your Score, it's a podcast, it's filmed, it's on YouTube. Go give it a listen. But if you can watch it, go give it a watch on YouTube and hit the subscribe button for him and for myself since you guys are on this video right now. I just want to say thank you, man. It's always a pleasure having you on. You know, I'll get you back on later down the road in this season. So for now, thank you and deuces.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
Two Horns Taylor!